Why Watch That is a podcast featuring the critic
and referee who go head-to-head on a quest to discover the best movies
and TV shows Hollywood has to offer. Expect the unexpected from the critic.
While nothing gets past the ref.
We do all the work.
So you don't have to. Welcome to Why Watch That.
The Why Watch That TV Talk.
Hola! We are back at TV. Good gracious. You know, if you don't know, there was something that launched since our last taping. And we will get to that certainly in just a moment, but we are certainly not going to ignore the launch of the end of television as we know it. But first, let's talk about the end of season 3 for Get Shorty. Yes, y'all remember this, right? It's on Epix. It totally somewhat is based off the movie, but then took it to new heights and depths, and oh my gosh. But it is on Epix. However, you can catch Get Shorty on either, I think it's Amazon Prime or on Netflix. One of the two. So you can check that out. I think it's just the first season. I think it's Netflix. It's just the first season that's out, but hopefully season 2 will quickly be out so you can binge those 2 seasons and maybe get your free trial of Epix for a couple of days to see if you can finish, season 3. But you know what? The critic's done it for you. So where have we left off and what in the world is going on?
Oh my goodness. So Miles, the protagonist, if you want to call him that, has just gotten out of prison in this season. He's ready to go back into the movie business. And this time he means business. He will get his producer's credit. He will be an executive. But how does he get there? In his way is just a sleazeball guy. Just one of the worst people you could think about in this industry is embodied in a man who is responsible for Miles being in prison. And this character is Lawrence Budd, played by Steven Weber. Now, he's a character in all senses. So Miles decides to go work for Lawrence, but Lawrence is afraid of this man. Lawrence knows who he is, and Lawrence knows that Miles might want to kill him.
Uh-oh.
So how can Miles convince Lawrence that he should work for him and then move up the ladder? What is up Miles's sleeve? It ain't good. I'll put it that way. And by the end of the season, I'm just going to put it out there.
Okay.
Miles becomes the executive vice president of this production company. He's number 2.
Oh, dear.
Who's number 1?
Moira? No, not Moira. What's that woman's name?
You don't know. I'll put it that way. And I won't tell you.
All right.
Okay, we got to leave some stuff there. Yeah, you talk about Amara.
Amara.
So let's talk about Amara, who is wonderfully played by Lydia Porto.
Jeez.
And her fiance, husband, I won't tell you, Rick, played by Ray Romano.
Oh, they're still together.
And the question is, are they in love? Now, remember, Rick has been a snitch to the FBI.
Yes.
He went to Club Fed for a year, got out. Amara had to go to South America in hiding after she jumped out of the window. Okay.
Wait to see this.
So Rick meets up with her in South America.
Oh.
They get run out of there. He goes back to America, all of this stuff, and he thinks that she's dead. He writes a screenplay about it. The whole experience. The FBI comes up and says, "You big dummy, you are giving away all kinds of secrets and people might be dead because of what you've written." He changes the script.
I cannot.
And who shows up on his doorstep one day? And the question is, in the end, for Rick and Amara, in the end of the season, where are they? Are they both living? Have they married? Have they split up? Have some truths been unearthed? And whose truth? Now, Miles' good buddy, played by Sean Bridgers. All these people are excellent, by the way. They're just amazing. Sean Bridgers, the character's name is Lewis Darnell. Lewis was a hitman with Chris O'Dowd's character, Miles. They were good buddies. They've been going through the industry together. Remember that Lewis started off as a writer, in quotes. Then, as I mentioned at the beginning of the season, he is a talent manager.
Oh, my goodness.
And it is a successful one. That doesn't last. And in the end, he becomes the head of physical production.
Oh, dear.
What in the world is that?
Do you not? Oh, that's a thing, though. That's a real thing.
Right. But what does it mean for Lewis?
I can't even. Why? Why?
The physical is your clue.
Okay.
So Miles has gotten all of these people to, in the end, work at this production company. How did he do that?
Oh, dear.
He's also in a certain kind of relationship with April, who's the woman who was producing the first movie in the first season and was afraid of him when she figured it all out.
Yes.
Well, now they are together.
Oh, my God.
And April had a run-in, no pun intended, with Lawrence Budd. So she wants revenge too. How does that happen? And of course, at the end of the season, there is a big cliffhanger because somebody's dead. Who's to blame? The cops consider it a suicide, but one detective says somebody murdered this person.
Oh, okay.
And who is this somebody this detective believes did that? Also, Miles has a teenage daughter now who's a teenager.
Already?
Yeah, because they skipped forward. Remember, he was in prison for 2 years.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And she's being a teenager.
Oh,
so here's what I'll say about season 3. It's Get Shorty. You know that I love this show. I will have to say it was a shortened season, just 7 episodes this time. But as Miles was piecing together his plot, it wasn't quite clear to us as viewers why he was doing what he was doing. And I think that lasted a bit too long. Once you figure it out, it's like, oh, but I think it took us too long to get there. We were in the dark too long in this season. So it wasn't quite as fun as the other seasons, but it's still fun. It's still smart. It's still great in how it really makes fun of Hollywood. It's so much fun. And I will end by saying this. Lewis's now wife, okay, Gladys, played by Sarah Stiles. She is an actress in the show. And she was casted in Tootsie, the Broadway musical. Now, here's the thing, everybody. Sarah Stiles, the actress, the real one, was cast in the real Tootsie on Broadway.
Oh, okay.
So it's this whole meta thing that they did in order to keep her into the show. And she does her big number that she was nominated for a Tony for this. She does a big number in the show, but as the character playing the character in Tootsie on Broadway in the show. Look.
Oh, boy.
What an idea that was. So that's where I'll end things for Get Shorty. If you could digest that, you certainly should watch this. And the ref told you how.
Yes, it's on Netflix. At least the season 1 is. Mm-hmm. Series premieres. Let's move on to 2. This is a short deal. In fact, you know what? We can whip through these because Showtime's Back to Life was only 6 episodes. That's it. But indeed, you did watch some of that, or maybe all, I'm not sure. It is online, available, all the 6 on the app, if you have that. I don't know much about Back to Life, but I have a feeling you're going to cue us in because I believe you watched it all. Am I right about that?
That's right. And it's available online and via Showtime's app, all 6 episodes. Right now, they've aired 4 of the 6.
Gotcha.
So you can see the whole thing. You can binge it if you'd like. And it's only a half an hour or so, maybe a little less per episode. So it's not a lot. Now, this does come to us from the producers of Fleabag, which cleaned up at the enemies.
Yeah.
Right? So we're across the pond here. And back to life means this. There's a woman played by Daisy Haggard who created the show, co-created it. And she was in prison for 18 years. And she's just getting out. And when she went in, she was a teenager. So she's trying to get her life back. That's what this is about. And the question is, what did she do to be in prison for 18 years?
Right.
She murdered somebody.
Ooh.
Now, this is a dramedy. Okay. So she comes out, her parents are waiting for her, and they're so excited. All of this, it's been 18 years. They take her back to their home. All of that goes on. But what is going on with mom and dad? 18 years have passed, and they have gone through some things. The father is very concerned about the environment, so much so he neglects his wife. He gets very upset by the plastic that's being wasted, being put into the ocean, that whole kind of thing. His wife has been neglected, so what has she done to get some attention? Also, when Miri, that's the lead character's name, when she tries to get her life back, there is someone that she was in love with when she went in, when they were teenagers. She wants to find this man and see if they can rekindle their relationship. But it's been 18 years. And what kind of man is he? I'll tell you this. He hasn't given up on this family while she was in prison for 18 years. But what does that mean? You'll have to watch this to find out. It's not what you're thinking. Don't put it that way. Now, keep in mind, Miri has been convicted of murder, and she says, yes, I killed somebody. But why? What's really going on here? This is a dramedy, so it can't be quite as serious as it sounds. There has to be an explanation. Well, there's a man on the prowl who introduces himself to her when she's on the beach. She says, hey, I don't know you. He says, I know, but I know you. And he promises to figure this all out, to prove her innocence, is it? Or an explanation for why she did what she did. But this man is very strange. Can you trust him? Also, the people in the town don't want her there. And they let her and her family know in all kinds of awful ways. It's terrible. Now, she has just gotten out of prison for 18 years. She's on probation. She has a probation officer who is hilarious. Not hilarious, hilarious. This woman is ridiculous. She doesn't want to meet in her office because she enjoys Miri's family's home. They feed her. She's this kind of woman. So she's like, oh, and Miri's like, oh, it's going terribly. They hate me. She's like, oh, it'll pass. It'll blow over. That's the kind of woman she is. It's hilarious. But I will say, when we get to the backstory of what actually happened and they go to more dramatic moments, it still works. That's a hard thing to pull off, some comedy and some drama. Also, Miri has a new neighbor, or her parents do. She meets this man. What's going on there? Does he know who she is? Because everybody who knows is scared or angry. And this man has someone he's living with who doesn't like Miri at all. But maybe this woman has an illness that explains that, or maybe not. And in the end, the question is, can Miri convince the town to get off of her back? Or is she doomed to have to leave? Here's what I'll say as a review. This is a quick watch. I was interested. Is it the best of things ever? No, but it's very good. I enjoyed it. If you like this, if you heard this and went, I wonder how that's going to play out as a dramedy, you should watch this. It's not a big commitment. My only knock is at the end, they tried to do a bunch of things at once and it felt forced. And up to then, it was not forced. That was what was so good about it. They tried one character in particular who actually hires Miri. What they did with him didn't make any sense. But in the end, they tried to right the ship. And at the very end, I will say, it does make sense. I hope they have another season of this because it's so quick and enjoyable and kind of off kilter and unexpected. And it's not something that bashes you over the head either, which we need more and more of nowadays. There are too many stories, and we talked about this outside of the recording rep. There are too many times when people nowadays are trying to make statements instead of telling the story.
Yeah.
And Back to Life does not make that mistake.
Interesting. Let's end this. Now, I alluded to the fact that TV as we know it has been destroyed and rebirthed.
Oh. I'm thinking of Strong J now.
I am, of course, talking about the launch of Disney Plus. Now, if you remember Apple TV Plus debuted the 1st of November, and it had mixed reviews. I mean, I think the only thing that came out, a little bit unscathed is the space movie, TV show.
For All Mankind.
Yes, For All Mankind. That was pretty much the one that everybody agreed, oh, okay, this has potential. And so Apple did some rearranging of their executives, of the head of scripted, and they basically are trying to figure out what's going on here. And of course, we'll talk about, you got a chance to see a sneak peek of the new movie Apple is releasing, and we'll talk about that later. So they're really rearranging. Now, Disney Plus, on the other hand, has launched, and quite frankly, people are gobbling it up. It said they had access to 1 billion. I'm sorry. What am I saying? I'm lying. 10 million. Sorry.
10 million.
What am I saying? 1 billion. Access to 10 million accounts. We'll say you can't really say 10 million people because nobody, everybody's sharing. So 10 million households or accounts. And Bob Iger was on officially saying that he was going for 60. So, I mean, he's well on their way. And one of the shows that really got a lot of buzz, I mean, the trailer alone was enough to make you do a trial or something. Pay a little $5 or whatever, how much $10, $20. And that is the Mandalorian, which is from the universe of Star Wars. So he is not a character that I know of that was like, oh, he's a big time character and now we're spinning off like Han Solo got his own movie. No, this is something different. And it hails from Jon Favreau, who is the showrunner. I'm like, John, when do you sleep, eat, and, bathe?
Yeah.
Because he is really like Disney's new man. He's the showrunner, creator of the show, directed, I believe, or will direct, if not already. This is already renewed for season 2. And quite frankly, I hear that it's pretty good.
Oh.
That's what I heard.
And John did a lot of the writing.
Yes. And we know he does write. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I will say this. He is the right person for this show.
Oh, okay.
He's the right person. I also want to tell the listeners, if they don't know already, which everybody does, it's $6.99 a month for a Disney Plus, or $69.99 per year.
Now, are there any commercials? That's the biggest question.
Not on Disney Plus, no commercials.
Got it.
So no commercials there, but you can bundle it with Hulu with ads and ESPN Plus for $12.99 a month. So they have that going on as well.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, would you, I know this isn't about that, but with Disney, what all do you get on there? Because I heard Nat Geo and
Yeah, we should talk about this. So you get Pixar, you get Marvel, you get Nat Geo, as you said, you get the Disney classics, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And now all the Marvel stuff isn't there because some of it is still licensed.
Yes.
Once those licenses are gone, it will be on Disney Plus.
Okay.
Also, remember, everybody, that Hulu's owned by Disney. We've talked about this.
Well, there's one sliver.
Yeah, right. And FX on Hulu's coming to us next year. Oh. So Disney is getting real serious. Hulu will be more for adult fare. Disney Plus is for family fare. So before I get to The Mandalorian, I'll say if you have a family, you need Disney Plus.
Yeah, you really do. Yeah,
especially at the holidays, ref. Because this is something where if everybody's disagreeing about what to watch, just go to Disney Plus. There's something on there.
That's true.
Something you've seen.
Once you get that bundle with Hulu, because I did hear that they're really staying with the more family-friendly content. The other stuff that Disney acquired from Fox is going to live on Hulu. So even they have a PG-13 Deadpool available that came out last year. Deadpool 2, excuse me. And then they're going to have the regular, stuff.
Yeah, so it's really smart. It's really smart how they've done it. I'm just excited about Epix on Hulu. I can't wait for that to happen. And just so you know what that means, everybody, it's not just that FX shows will be on Hulu the morning after it airs, but they are producing shows for Hulu.
Yeah.
There's a Cate Blanchett show that will be on Hulu now that was scheduled for FX.
Gotcha.
Anyway, back to Disney Plus. Now, I have sampled more than The Mandalorian.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I watched the live action Lady and Tramp.
Yeah.
The original's there as well. I'll tell you.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I heard the reviews are not kind.
At least the original, there's a charm because of the period piece. Essentially, that's what it is now. So there's a charm to it. There's a lyricism to it that the remake is missing.
Yeah.
When it comes to the High School Musical TV show, if you're in that age range, hey, go for it. I'm too old. I did finally watch Avengers Endgame. Before that, I watched Captain Marvel.
Look at you just going. You're really getting your $6.99. I know. I already know.
Yeah.
You're getting your $6.99's worth.
I was bored.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll say that. But I had a free trial. Check everybody your providers, because some providers are giving you Disney Plus for free for a year. Like if you have Verizon Unlimited plan,
yeah,
and some others. So check that as well. But it's just a whole bunch of stuff. So if you're interested in any of the entities we talked about, check it out. And even now, Ref, I don't know if you know, but some of the classic Disney movies, they have warnings. Like may contain outdated cultural depictions.
You like the crows in
Dumbo.
Yes.
Oh, look at now. See, don't think that the ref don't know nothing.
Listen.
Also, they will say contains tobacco depictions.
Yes.
So if you don't want your family to see that, you know what's there.
How is it interactive? Is the interface intuitive? Is it clunky?
It is intuitive.
Okay.
They have at the top. They have it's 5 of the major entities that they provide. So you can just click into Marvel, for instance.
Oh, okay.
Or into Pixar.
So you don't have to wait. You don't have to sift through all of the.
No.
Excellent.
Yeah, and then there's a sidebar as well where you have your watch list and you can go through other things, series. They also have, it's like a Netflix kind of thing where you have rows of different things. Disney Classic row,
okay.
Marvel row. So it's intuitive. If you've used an online interface before, if you've used Netflix before, you know what's going on. If you've used Amazon Prime, no shock here. They know what they're doing.
Yes.
So now for The Mandalorian. The longest build up.
Episode.
This is the show that is for the entire family.
Oh.
It will work for almost every age range if you like Star Wars. Okay. Now, what is it about? We have my boy, Pedro Pascal.
You love saying that name. You do. Every single time, from Narcos to that Matt or
Game of Thrones.
Affleck, Game of Thrones. Yeah. What? Oh, Game of Thrones. Sorry.
Yeah, he was the Red Viper in Game of Thrones. Don't sleep.
Oh, he's dead.
So he's the Mandalorian. Now, what is a Mandalorian? The Mandalorians, they are the race of people that the Fetts come from. Boba Fett, Jango Fett. So they're bounty hunters.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. Now, so this Mandalorian is one of them. He's a bounty hunter. And at the very beginning, you know what he's up to. There's a scene where somebody wants to take this bounty for themselves, and the Mandalorian comes in and says, no, you won't. And then he has to get off of this planet in order to deliver this bounty. Who's the bounty, right? How does he get off of the planet? It's not easy, okay? And of course, he has his own spacecraft to do this. And what's on the spacecraft? What does it look like? How does he ensure that the bounty doesn't get away? Now, the person who essentially facilitates these bounties, who tells him, hey, this is what these people are looking for, can you do it, is played by Carl Weathers.
Oh, we love Carl, don't we?
Love him.
Mr. Creed.
Yes. So Carl is like, look, I'm kind of running low on this stuff, but there's this special bounty that is off the books. I'll say it that way. That's not the language they use. It's off the books. It pays a lot. If you want to do it, go ahead. A lot of people have come before you. All have failed.
Oh, then he's going to do it.
Now, what does failure mean?
Oh.
Do you come back from it?
Oh, boy.
So, of course, yes, he does this. This is a TV show. So he goes to find this bounty, and what does he encounter? All kinds of mayhem. Now, he sees this because there's something called a bounty droid, who's voiced by Taika Waititi. And the bounty droid is just that. It's a bounty hunter that's an android, and it's hilarious. So all of these people are trying to get this bounty. The bounty droid just destroys all of them. And there's a particular reason why. You have to have your credentials or the bounty droid will take you out.
Oh.
So the Mandalorian comes up and the bounty droid is like, hey, where are your credentials? And Mandalorian's like, wait, stop. I got mine. Let's work together. So they work together to get this bounty, but do they leave with the bounty together? And this special creature, that's the bounty, what is it? When the Mandalorian sees this creature, maybe things have changed. Is the Mandalorian still going to want to cash in, or will the Mandalorian want to do something else with this thing? I'll tell you this, you'll see what it is at the end of episode 1. The first 2 episodes are now available. And when you do, many Star Wars fans might fall out of their seats.
Oh, do we have to know? Will we not get it if we're not huge Star Wars fans?
Oh, you will. Everybody will know.
Oh, okay. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, if you know Star Wars, you will know what you're looking at. And you'll go, what? Okay.
So they're tying it into the bigger world. That's great. Okay.
Yeah. Then in the second episode, it's all about what's the Mandalorian going to do with this. And we're introduced to this. Now, by the way, I should say, on the way to get to this special bounty, the Mandalorian on this new planet meets someone who's essentially a guide, and this someone is voiced by Nick Nolte. You can't make this stuff up. And it's great. It's the perfect, and the animation of it, it looks like Nick Nolte if you know it's him.
Oh.
So unlike the Lady and the Tramp, they use that. They use his face. It's just a wonderful thing because it's not Nick Nolte. Okay? This is all CGI all the way. But it was just that kind of thing. It's those kind of touches that are so nice. And then in episode 2, we see what comes of this. What comes of this relationship between the Mandalorian and Nick Nolte's character. Can the Mandalorian get off of the planet? Maybe there's some creatures on the planet that have other ideas for him. So that's episode 2. And then as we move through, who knows what's going to happen. But I'll say this. What a great idea if you're going to pull from Star Wars to do a TV show on a bounty hunter. It's endless where you can go with it. Endless. And it looks, like a dream.
Ooh. Well, Jon Favreau. I mean, come on.
When you see it, you'll go, I was watching it, I just thought back through the history of television. It was like, how did we get here? I mean, we have Watchmen, we have Game of Thrones, we have all of this other stuff that we know looks great. But just seeing it where you go, this looks like a Star Wars movie. it's almost shocking, but the show itself isn't loud. It's true to what it is. It's not trying to perform or trying to grab you. It's what it is. That I like the truth of it that way. My only knock was at the beginning, I did want to be hooked. That first scene to me felt a bit sluggish, but once you get out of that, I really enjoyed it. Is this the perfect thing ever? No, it's not. But who cares? If you're a Star Wars fan, if you're a fan of fantasy, sci-fi, anything like that, if you're going to see the latest and last Star Wars installment in our current trilogy, you've got to see this in some way. You can wait to binge it if you want. I believe its final episode, because there will be 8, will be around December 27th. Just so you know, on Disney Plus, their shows, they will release new episodes once a week. It's not a binge model on Fridays.
Okay. On Fridays.
Mm-hmm. Now, what happened since this launched on a Tuesday, you got 2 episodes in 1 week. But moving forward, it will be 1 episode. I'll tell you this. I don't need Disney Plus every month. So I will be purchasing it strategically.
There you have it. Listen, this was a snack. And it was in between a snack. It was like, what you eat right after you've eaten breakfast, and it's not quite lunch and you just want something good. This was that episode.
The Hobbits call it 11 C's.
11 C's. Yes, maybe that's what we should call it. Well, keep tuned in here. There's more to review on Disney Plus, as well as other platforms. The critic is we just lock him in a room and shut it down. We just make him just watch TV until his eyes bleed. So let's just critic, go back into the room. Go back.
Thanks for listening. For additional resources, visit WhyWatchThat.com.
Good idea, and we'd love to hear from you. So go ahead and leave comments, feedback, and you can rate us on iTunes.
We'll see you next week.
See you.